All right, guys. So today we're going with our Rogue One spoiler review, and I want to apologize for the lack of a Star Wars background. So if you guys are not aware, this is a spoiler review, so you have been warned. So if you have not seen the film, please do pause this and put it in one of your favorites or save for later. So you can watch it, because you really want to see the film before you get exposed to any of the topics that we're going to talk about here in this video. Two viewings of the film, one on Thursday and one on Sunday. And as you guys, I don't know if any of you guys were able to see my initial reaction to the film, which was done right after walking out of the theater. Absolutely enjoyed the film, had an excellent time. All right, guys, so I took the liberty of checking out a couple of reviews, spoiler reviews, after my first viewing, and looked at some of the criticisms of the movie. One of the first criticisms were the quick shifting between planets and the also the development of characters. That didn't bother me so much. I thought the pacing was really cool. And then, of course, with the development of characters, that's always a consistent complaint. It's very hard to develop characters within a 2-hour window. So I also didn't have a problem with that. And then, of course, there is the most consistent criticism in regards to the CGI, specifically on Tarkin and Leia. Now, I watched the film the first time around in 3D form, and I'm not a 3D guy at all. And even with the 3D, the CGI did look off a bit, and maybe it did take me out of the movie for a second or two. I can tell you, when Tarkin initially turned around, I was amazed. I mean, I was like, wow, that is Peter Cushing, brought back from the dead. R.I.P. rest in peace. To Peter Cushing. But so I thought the CGI was absolutely excellent. Now, in regards to Tarkin, the screen time that we got with Tarkin, and the dialogue that we got with Tarkin, obviously with that CGI, they had more to do with that CGI. So I mean, if you really consider the amount of screen time that Tarkin had and the amount of dialogue that he had, I think if you factor in all of that, I think they did an excellent job with the CGI. And then, of course, those Easter eggs that I spoke of. If you didn't realize it or didn't know or haven't heard of any of the Easter eggs or didn't see them, of course there was the blue milk that was on the counter at the Ursos. And then, of course, we got to run into Dr. Evenzan and Saki, the Walrus Man from the cantina on Mos Eisley, A New Hope. So that was really cool to see. We also saw Red 5 and the fate of Red 5 and why Luke is able to take over Red 5. In A New Hope, so that was very cool. Of course, we had the cameo with R2-D2 and C-3PO on Yavin, and then, of course, everyone is aware of the ghost that also appears. There was also a hail for General Syndulla over the PA system on the Yavin base, so that was absolutely cool. There is some confusion on whether it was for Hera's father or if that was for Hera. My assumption on that is that that was Hera that they were speaking of, and I'm assuming that she may, between the events, between where we are now in Star Wars Rebels and the events of Rogue One, she's probably going to get another promotion, but that's just speculation on my part. That's why we hear the hail for General Syndulla. I don't think it's her, but that was very interesting. And then, of course, there was also Chopper, who could be seen in the background in one of the scenes from. In one of the scenes, of course, Chopper is the droid from Star Wars Rebels, the animated series, if you didn't know. So very, very cool Easter eggs for those hardcore Star Wars fans like myself. All right, so let's go over some of the issues that I had with the film. And I can tell you guys, and you can call me a fanboy or not, but I had a very, very hard time finding some issues with this. And then, one of the issues that I had was number one, where Jyn Erso is talking to Krennic towards the end there when they're on the platform. She's about to send the plans, and she hasn't even delivered the plans yet, and Krennic is there. He shows up and he's asking who she is, and she reveals who she is, and then she begins to tell him, you know, the defect in the Death Star. You know, she's revealing everything to him, and she hasn't delivered the message yet, and it was kind of like, why is she doing that? So that I really didn't care for. I think they could have left that out. Now, my first viewing without the crawl was jarring, and not only was it jarring, but then the music, the score at the beginning of the film kind of threw me off. My highlights for the film, and there was plenty of those, guys. So my first highlight is number one, K2SO. Funny, amazing, as well as a BA. And you guys know what I'm talking about. I want to keep this kid-friendly for any of the kids out there who are watching this. But he was an excellent character. And I think he's my favorite character, and probably a lot of the moviegoers who watched Rogue One would probably say the same, that he was probably one of the best characters in the film. I really enjoyed him. Then my second highlight was the look and feel of the film. It most definitely felt like Star Wars, especially once you got past the lack of a crawl, the title screen, and some of the score. Everything else felt like Star Wars. And then, of course, I had mentioned them already, the Easter eggs, the fan service. I think it was done very, very well. It wasn't overdone. Everything was done within context of the film. So that was done very, very nicely. I really, really enjoyed the power struggle between Tarkin and Krennic. I just loved it. Without even having read Catalyst. I didn't read Catalyst, but I did watch some spoiler reviews of Catalyst, so I got the gist of what was going on with Catalyst and the relationship between Krennic and Tarkin, and the power struggle for the Death Star. And obviously they did go over that in this film, and I really, really enjoyed that dialogue between Krennic and Tarkin. I can tell you, I mean, Tarkin has always been one of my favorite characters. But between what they've done with him in Clone Wars, because he was featured in Clone Wars, he's also been featured in the Rebels animated series, and then we've gotten him here in Rogue One, and then of course you have Catalyst as well. They've really taken this character who wasn't fully fleshed out in A New Hope, but most definitely had a presence, and they fleshed him out fully for this universe, and I really enjoy. So I really love that dynamic between Tarkin and Krennic. Excellent stuff. And then of course you have the third act. The battle scenes were outstanding. The Hammerhead taking out the destroyer. We've never seen that in the Star Wars universe, and it was just epic to see. I just loved it. And then also the desperation of that move. What I like about that move so much, with the Hammerhead crashing into the destroyer there and then sending it into the other destroyer, it gives you the feel of desperation that the rebels were up against. This small group of rebels who've come together, a band of rebels who have come together to fight this behemoth in the Empire. And the desperate move of taking a hammerhead and smashing it into a destroyer to help bring down the gate was just an excellent move and really gave you that feel of the desperation of the rebels versus the Empire. So I really enjoyed that, and I thought that was an excellent touch for the film. And then, of course, the top highlight of the movie, and I'm sure you heard this on several different reviews, is obviously the scene with Vader. I mean, what else can I say that hasn't already been said about that scene? A lot of fans were hoping to get Vader in his prime for this movie, and I think they delivered exactly what the fans were looking for. We got Vader using a combination of his saber and the Force, holding rebels up against the roof while fending off laser blasts. And then once he passed the soldier, the rebel that he had on the roof, as almost an afterthought, he swings the saber back to kill him. Super amazing film, super amazing scene. And then the fear the look of fear on the rebels' faces was excellent. I mean, they've made Vader terrifying again, and I think that's what a lot of the fans were looking and hoping for, and they most definitely delivered with that scene. So, and then of course, for that to be a part of the climax of the film was excellent. And then of course, it just moves us right up to literally seconds of A New Hope. And one of the things I'm really looking forward to once this Rogue One comes out on DVD is I want to be able to watch Rogue One all the way up to the end, and then immediately pop in A New Hope and just go right from there. I mean, these two movies literally, you're literally getting what, a 4.5, 5-hour movie. The way these two films go together so well, and so I look forward to getting that DVD and watching those two films immediately back to back. So if I had to rank this film, and I had a very hard time ranking this film even after my second viewing, but I can tell you I love this film a lot. I love it a lot. I have to say, I have to slide Rogue One in that number 2 slot, just behind Empire Strikes Back and just above A New Hope. I love it that much. I love it that much. Guys, that is my review of Rogue One. I hope you guys enjoyed the movie just as much as I have. Again, I'm probably going to be out for a third viewing sometime this week. That's just how much I love the movie. The movie did take in $155 million on its opening weekend, which is the second best opening in December, only behind The Force Awakens. So again, you got to applaud the guys over at Disney for doing a really good job on their second time out here with this franchise. I'm going to give this movie, in my initial review, I think I had given the movie a 9.5 in my initial review. And it's hard for me to give out a true 10 for anything. And I really would like to give this movie a 10. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because a 10 is I don't know, a 10 is special. And I'm not saying this movie isn't special, but a 10 has to be very super special. So I'm going to give it the next best thing. I'm going higher than a 9.5. After my second viewing, I'm going up here, and I'm going to give it a 9.8 here, very close to a 10. As you guys can see, I loved it. I enjoyed it. It's high up there on the ranking list. So guys, I want to thank you very much for watching this video. I hope I haven't talked for too long, but that is my spoiler review, and may the Force be with you guys always.